Hi, guys, and welcome back to
The Consequence of Love.
I'm the wife,
And I'm the husband.
and today we are getting into our biggest issues and how we overcame them.
Oh my gosh, very serious topic. So definitely make sure you stick around. Smash that like button, subscribe, and check us out on Spotify. This amount of you are not subscribed, so please subscribe and check out our videos every Thursday. Ooh, this is a big topic, but I think it's about time that we shared this with everybody. We've had a guest on now, and she's shared a lot of her vulnerable moments. I think it's time we share ours and why we think that we benefit anybody who might listen to us and kind of get a point of view from us, because we've kind of been there. We've done that. We've gone through all those different situations, and I think that we have something to help with. So I guess let's get into it. Where should we start? From the very, very beginning, or should we lead up to like...
I would probably say maybe let's go into detail a bit more about your diagnosis, I would say.
And then go back to it.
Then, yeah.
Okay. I kind of like that. So I had found out, as we've discussed you guys before, that I was bipolar type 2, which essentially means I have really deep lows, long time in depressions, and then I come up and I go really happy and then right back down and I crash. I also have OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder. I will think of something and I will obsess over it until I compulsively do it.
Yes.
So as an example, I really want I can't say that. I want a new computer.
Mm-hmm.
I will think about it and I will obsess over it until one day, honey, I bought a computer.
He either gets it or we talk about it too much and I'm just like, just get it. Or, yeah.
Actually, a perfect example would be the Oculus. Like, VR headset. Really thought about, we can use it all the time, and the kids can play with it, and we can play with it. And it's a really cool party trick. And
by the way, this is our second Oculus.
Yeah.
Because the first one we got, I was like, yeah, sure, you're going to Korea, we'll have it forever. And then he got a spur of the moment, we don't need it, we don't use it. And I was like, okay, but it's nice to have, so keep it. No, sell it. And so we sold it, and we got another one because great idea. Way better though.
This one's wireless and all that stuff. But exactly, I mean, that's a really good example. So those two things in combination kind of affected me for the longest time, and I just didn't realize those were kind of the source of it. I don't want to blame everything on that. Mm-hmm. It definitely still has to do with me and my issues. And so with those two things in mind, whenever I would go through depressive or manic states that I, again, at the time of these issues that we'll bring up, I was unaware that I had these issues. So my coping mechanism, if I felt sad, would be try to do the things that make me feel good. Mm-hmm. Well, what makes me feel good? Drinking, spending money, having sex, getting blowjobs, or whatever the case is. And so
I would say also sometimes like a little bit just of attention. You know what I mean?
Yeah, true. Sorry, attention. No. I mean, that's that. I mean, I don't know. Obviously, I guess just anything in that world, essentially, right? And when I would get depressed, I'd try to self-medicate with those things. And usually with my wife, I would try to be like, hey, honey, let's drink. Let's do it. Let's do things to me. Send me nudes, whatever the case was, right? And so that's how I self-medicated. The problem ensued almost immediately when we started dating, because first and foremost, the beginning of our dating was kind of rough.
Yeah, it was. We were still young.
Yeah, well, that, and I just got out of a serious relationship.
Mm-hmm. Same.
And I knew that I wanted to be with her, but I still had feelings for the other person I was dating or had been dating. And so my mind was like, okay, well, I want to be with her. Or maybe my heart, I don't know. One of them, my heart and or my mind was like, I want to be with Alexis because
we were kind of like in the same boat, I would say. Because obviously like, I still had a little bit of feelings for mine, person I was with too. But I just knew, not necessarily I outgrew them. Yeah. But I was like, I just wanted something more. I wanted something more serious or adult or
you
something.
Just saw it ending.
And then
it was just
obviously
over.
With Exactly. Like obviously we took steps to further our future and things like that.
Yeah.
And
Well, I mean, not even before we even get there, too. It's still just like, again, like we just first started talking again, right? I had just
yeah.
broken up with my ex, so I was still hanging out with her and stuff like that. And for me, like, I knew in my mind or my heart, I don't recall which, and it's hard to describe, right? I knew that this was perfect. But the other part, maybe not either one, maybe just my penis or whatever, I don't know, was like, but I still want this girl, other girl, you know? And so I was having trouble essentially deciding, I guess, or
yeah,
maybe
I would
just
say,
sticking to it.
I would say maybe just used to both of us were used to our comfortable past.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
why we kind of stayed so long.
But I was unhappy, so I left, and I left for her. But I was still sleeping with her. And so that wasn't great, you know? And I didn't know what to do, and I just, to be honest, when I look back at it, like, I wasn't thinking. I was just doing it. Like maybe like you said, comfortable or just
Yeah.
used to it or whatever. So that was a bumpy start for us.
Just familiar.
Yeah. So that was bumpy because I didn't necessarily want to lose her. And like you said, we were young, so maybe I was just getting into action or
Yeah,
whatever.
that, and
but
obviously I was still in another state too. So,
yeah.
you know, we
Yeah.
never knew if I was coming back or we
Yeah,
talked
so-
about it, but
Yeah.
yeah.
So it was just a rough start. I don't want to say difficult. It was just a rough start because it's all my fault. You know what I mean? And that has nothing to do even with these issues. It's just, I mean, maybe it did. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I don't
we'll
know.
never fully know,
Maybe I
but-
was depressed because I was like, I didn't want to be in that relationship anymore, but I wanted to be with you, but I couldn't because you were, like you said,
Yes,
away. So I don't know.
exactly.
I don't know. Maybe I was just unhappy with myself. Maybe it has something to do with my ex. Maybe it has nothing to do with like, maybe it was just me. I was unhappy with myself. Who knows? Point is, that's how we started with Rocky. Eventually, we kind of sorted that out, right? And then we started dating. We moved into it with each other. But then I would still be seeking attention from other females. I'd still be texting people, you know, and we had a great sex life. We would have sex almost every day.
Yep.
She'd wake me up in the middle of the night and have sex with me. And we were living the dream. We'd go to Disneyland all the time. Like, we were really doing whatever we wanted. So,
Yeah,
like,
we were,
I was...
yeah, on our own, had our own vehicles, you know, kind of
Yeah.
like just living the adult life, you know, so.
At a pretty young age, we were like, I was just turning 21 or something like that, and you were 19 and stuff like that. So we were enjoying our lives, doing our thing, feeling
kids,
independent.
yeah.
Getting her on her own cell phone plan. Like, it was exciting. And then again, like it's so far back that I couldn't tell you exactly, you know. But again, I guess I may have just been going through my depression states and going through my, you know,
Yeah.
my manic
manic,
stages or whatever, and I was just like, I need to talk to someone else. I need attention from more females. I need to get
Yeah.
laid by 100 girls. I often bring up that because it could be possible, we don't know, but maybe I just didn't spread my seed enough growing up, and maybe I needed to get it out of my system, and maybe our youth, that's what it was, and then
Not
obviously
necessarily
later.
like spread a seed as in like having many children, but like
Oh, yeah.
being
With
with
multiple
different
partners.
people. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Exploring. Like,
Yeah, that might have been it, but
yeah.
obviously we don't know. It could have been that I was depressed, but maybe I wasn't. Maybe like we said, maybe I just was young. Most guys were out exploring other partners, and I was with one person, you know, for a while. So who knows, right? But that led to issues. We would fight. We were not good with fighting. Learning how each other deal with arguments.
Yeah, because that was a big thing too. Obviously, once we first lived with each other, is like I was used to being dramatic, and like how we talked about in one of the previous episodes. I forgot which one. But it's like I would slam doors, I would yell or ignore him, be like I'm fine, and then speed down the road or
You know what's interesting
Like
too
childish,
is I'd be like, you need to learn how to talk to me, blah blah blah. But like I couldn't talk to you.
yeah, and yeah,
You know,
So
like
it'd
I
be,
could
vice
to an
versa, yeah.
extent, you know what I mean? But like I couldn't express my feelings.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she would get mad and I would get more upset. And I think that's also part of what would drive me. Not necessarily your fault, but
Yeah.
like I'd be like just upset, I guess, and just go to take it out somewhere else, you know, my frustration and whatnot. But yeah, communication was, you know, not there, so we were trying our best, but we knew we loved each other.
Yeah,
So even though I was getting caught by her, trying to talk to girls, trying to meet up with girls or whatever, she still forgave me and we still worked through it. We communicated through those things. And every time up until the last time I, you know, went through this, I don't really ever know why. You know what I mean? Like obviously the easy answer would be like, well, yeah, because I wanted to get my dick sucked or whatever, or I wanted to see some titties. Like, well, yeah, but like why?
yeah. Like
You
you
know?
got that like every night, or you know what I mean? Yeah,
You know, like it's not that she's not pleasing me. It's not
Yeah.
that she's not doing these things for me. It's just I go, that's what I'm gonna go get for whatever reason. Try and go get.
Or this is what you felt you needed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's just weird. But then again, it's still like, well, it's always like, well, why don't you think about the consequences? And it's just like, it doesn't. And it kind of borderlines like addiction. When I went to go get help, I forgot to mention that part. I went because I felt myself like, not necessarily, but kind of becoming an alcoholic. And so that's why I sought help. But
yeah, like obviously going a little bit more into that detail. I think we have on, like I said, the previous episodes, but like he noticed, and obviously I noticed a little bit, that he would slowly drink a lot, not to like get drunk or anything, but he would drink it just to relax.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, or something, or to calm down, because he felt himself like not
anxiety
rubbing up,
or
or
something.
yeah,
Maybe, I don't know.
yeah. So like he'd be like, put more beers in the fridge for me, and I was like, we already went through like a 24 pack. Like,
Yeah.
there's none. He's like, what? You know, and I was like, yeah. I was like, unless we put it somewhere, or, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. And so maybe all this kind of just borderlines on sex addiction or something. I don't really know, but because that's what I've found in talking to people who have addiction, is that like they know they need to breathe, or they know what they're doing is killing them, but that urge or whatever, it just takes over, and it just doesn't matter what the consequences are. It's not even a thought. It's like, if you take this, you're gonna die. They're gonna be like, okay, whatever, I'm gonna take it. And it's interesting because that's kind of essentially how it feels. Like, I knew that if I slept with someone, if I, did this, or if I did that, or if I did this one too many times, like, it was gonna be over. And I didn't want to lose her. I know that through what we've been through and through what we go through, I don't want to be with anybody else, We've talked about this before. Of course, I'd love to sleep with more women, and of course, I'd love to have, a lot more partners, but not at the cost of our relationship. That's not something that I want. In the past, I probably would have been like, yeah, I don't care. I would have been like, we're going through problems anyways, or whatever, but like,
it's just a boyfriend girlfriend relationship. Or
exactly. Like a momentary lapse would have been like, yeah, whatever. There was times in a relationship we've almost got divorced before, so it's like, it would have been easy for me to make that decision. Then be like, okay, well, let me get 6 wives or 6 women, and I'll trade you in. But at this point in time, like, I know, like, no one else would have stood with me through all that. No one else that I've ever met, a friend, you know what I mean? Like,
if I try to, like, talking to other people, like being in the army, talk to different kinds of people. Just people. Some people just don't understand. Some people do. It's just. It's hard, Yeah,
we've met people who don't like when their husband watches porn or their wife watches porn. We've met people who don't like if their wife goes to strip clubs or goes to
or even
the
just
bar,
looking at the opposite sex. And
exactly. Yeah,
there's the opposite sex in the world. Like, what are you gonna do? Shelter them forever?
Yeah. So it's like, so I know, and obviously, who knows, right? Maybe there's someone out there who would put up with me, or whatever, but not someone that I get along with like her. That we just have this connection that we've discussed before. Even if we split up tomorrow, like, we're gonna be best friends still. We're probably still gonna sleep with each other. Like, we're probably still gonna do those things. Like, it's just because we have this connection that I feel like I've never had with anybody before. So I've been eternally grateful for all the things that we've done. So so we kind of went through some of that while we were dating, and then joined the military and got married.
Got married. And
I know, even too, like, when we were getting married, I was telling myself, I was like, I need to stop. Like, I need to stop looking. Like, and that was the thing too. Like, it was more, I knew to an extent, some of it was just relief, right? Like, I just needed to jerk off and masturbate.
Okay.
And just get out of the way, because I don't want to just, hey, let me use you real quick, woman I love, I want to use something else as an object and not her. So I would go online and I would look, and sometimes the talking would be enough, and I would just masturbate to that, and I'd be good. But it just kind of, I guess, progressively got worse, or I just kind of let it keep going.
More, or like, I would say, like, obviously I'm not speaking for you, but like, I felt like the addiction, you met it to a certain point, and after a while it kind of grew, so you needed a little bit more.
Yeah, I think that, and also, no, I think that's probably exactly what I was gonna say. It's like that. I want to say, like, it just grew, like, not enough.
Yeah, exactly. So
I was gonna say, like, the attention, like, I needed more of the attention. No, I guess it's the same thing. Yeah, it's still the same thing. I just needed more.
Like, he would, like, scratch the itch, but then the itch grew bigger. Yeah. So you have to do the surrounding area. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. So it just got. So I knew what I was doing was wrong. I knew that talking to people, showing my dick around, whatever. Like, I knew it wasn't something she liked, but like, I felt like I needed it. But I remember telling myself, like, I need to stop. Like, I'm marrying this girl. I love this girl. Like, I'm. This is it. I'm never gonna do it again. I'm never gonna talk to another woman. I'm never gonna look. And then
and it's crazy because, like, both of us, like, know marriage is like a very important thing. At least I do. I don't,
Yeah, I mean, marriage
know,
is
but,
pretty
like,
important to both of us.
Yeah.
We
so,
like, yeah, because I don't necessarily want to get divorced over nothing. Like, I
Yeah.
don't want to be like, oh, I'm divorced. Is that a bad thing? No, but I knew that I wanted this was the one.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty much it. Like, I knew you were the one. So, like,
Yeah.
why start over? Why
waste
end
it? Or, yeah, exactly.
Exactly. But yeah, so I was hoping to be done, and then the military came around, and you know, the habit just came back, or the addiction, whatever you want to call it. Like, again, for sure in the military, we can definitely correlate the instances where I was cheating or whatever became when I was depressed.
Yes.
For sure.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
We
that
can definitely, like, those are easily like, oh, that happened. I was depressed. Oh, that happened. Before that, it was kind of unsure because we were so busy. I was working 3 jobs before that.
Yeah, but at least we knew, like, you were home every night. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We had our days off. We planned our days off together. Whereas in the military, it gone from seeing him every night and maybe every, like, Thursday, Friday to what, you were gone 12 plus hours maybe.
Yeah.
Sometimes he'd leave, like, the field and be gone for 2 weeks or a week. And, you know, what do? You know,
Yeah.
you need something, but, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and because I already have, like, a high sex drive, so that's already part of it. But it just, I don't know. It just kind of essentially spiraled out of control, I would say. I got suicidal at one point. I don't know if you remember that. Yeah. I wasn't happy doing it.
Yeah.
But I just kept doing it. I just
felt
kept
the need
reaching
to,
out. I just
yeah.
kept reaching out to females. I just kept trying to get girls to come over. I kept trying to, and like, who knows what I would have done? I don't know. You know what I mean? It was tough, and it's hard thinking about this stuff and talk about it because I feel so ashamed, and I felt so ashamed every time she'd catch me, and it's like I can never admit it either.
Yeah.
She'd
And
be
it's
like-
like, it's not like you would like blame me either. It's like, it was because, like, fuck you. It was mainly like I would show him and he'd like get this. You can tell he was disappointed in himself. He wasn't mad at me. He was like, fuck, like, embarrassed. You know what I mean? Like, he's never blamed me for him
Cheating or
looking
whatever,
for someone else or whatever. And I was like, what the fuck? Obviously I was hurt, but he was always like, fuck, like.
Yeah,
you
it's
know.
like the worst feeling I could ever have felt. Like, it sounds cliche, and I guess it sounds like every other cheater, right, who says that stuff, you know what I mean? But,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, right? But I could never admit it. So she can catch me red-handed, right? And
Yeah,
she'd be
or like,
you got something to tell me?
yes, exactly. I'd
Yeah, I
like give
went
him
through
the
your phone.
opportunity because obviously we'd gotten better in a relationship to where I'd be like, just tell
communication
me.
was getting
you
a little
know?
bit better.
I would tell him, like, if you just don't want to be married to me, that's fine. Well, can we end it here? Divorce is okay. Like, we'll move on or whatever. Like, it'll be hard, but we'll figure it out. No, obviously we wanted each other, so we worked on it. We just kept working on it, and yeah, like I said, I would just go up to him and, you know, what did you do today?
Or like, who's Bob?
I don't know. Right away, I'm like, oh, here we go.
Christmas, what? Yeah. And I think that's funny now looking back, but I've never been able to admit to it. I have to, I just lie.
It's just denial. You mean like, oh, maybe they're talking about someone else, you know, or
I mean, also probably guilt. I don't want you to know.
Yeah.
And I don't want to admit something that if you don't know, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, cause that's even worse too. Cause like for me, right. So there's always been to an extent that I'm able to stop myself. Cause usually, as I said, I'll go on Omegle, I'll go on Tinder, I'll go on
whatever at the time.
whatever
Yeah.
dating sites, right? And I would talk. I'd either beat my meat and then be like, "Oh shit! Like, what am I doing? Like, she wouldn't be happy about this. I'm gonna hurt her feelings. Whatever. I need to stop." Or it'd be like talking, and then next thing you know, like, we're talking about meeting up, and I'm like, "Oh shit!" Like,
Too serious.
yeah,
Delete.
this is heavy, you know. And you know, each time would vary in where it went or how far it went or whatever. But it just like I know that at some point. Like, what am I doing? What is going on? It almost sounds like, as crazy as it sounds, like I just black out. Like I'm just, I'll be on my phone on Facebook. Next thing you know, I'm talking to somebody, and I'm like, what the hell? Like, what's going on? You know? And it was tough. So that was like our military career, like off and on. It would happen, and just immense amount of regret. And I think that like. Getting through these things, even before we found out kind of like what my process was or whatever, like my emotional or like my mental state. Like she said, she would catch me. She'd be like, "What are you doing? This is wrong, of course." And we would talk about how if you don't want to be with me or whatever, and I would, we would discuss as best we could, like what's going through my mind.
Yeah. Or why, or what triggered it. Like I always asked him, like, was it me? You know what I mean? And obviously it would always be like, no. And being obviously like, this happened over and over. It's like, well, it's got to be me then.
Yeah.
So obviously I blame myself.
Which is hard too, because now I'm feeling worse because like it's not her fault. Like it's not. I'm the one that's fucked up in the head. I'm the one that can't control my dick or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, but we would sit there and we talk about it. Mm-hmm. The worst we've gotten is I packed up and moved into the garage.
Yeah, that was a bigger issue.
Yeah,
though,
I know.
Yeah.
But just essentially that's how bad it got.
Yeah.
It got so bad that like, and it wasn't even like, I don't want to, well, maybe it was. I think it was a little bit of both. It was like, I don't want to be with you. And it was also like, I don't want to be with you because I don't want to hurt you. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Yeah.
It was mainly both. That. Yeah. And obviously, like, at the time when he did move into the garage, we had Eli. And so he's like, he didn't want to just leave. And I was like, I told him, I was like, if you don't want me, and he's like, that's not the case. Like, he's like, I love you. And I was like, well, then what the hell, but it's like,
because I think
why do you want to keep hurting someone and then obviously leave your child? You know what I mean? So he was like,
and that was like at the point that we realized it was a problem, right? Yeah, I want to say it was that, and then I went to
yeah. Sorry, yeah.
So like that's the furthest I ever went for like cheating, essentially, and I was like she said, I didn't want to leave. I didn't want to hurt her, but I felt that leaving would be the best thing for her. And I was so adamant on it. Like, I remember being like, no, I'm leaving. And you're like, no, don't leave. And I meant leaving. I was like going in the garage. Yeah. But like, I didn't want to.
About, moving out, obviously.
I didn't want to hurt her anymore. Like, it was just so much. And again, like I said, there was a lot more things we discussed before of like our emotions and how we felt about each other. She may have felt a certain way because I was gone all the time and not helping her around the house. But I also felt the opposite, where I felt like I was babying her and taking care of the house and paying all the bills or whatever the case was, which obviously there's no excuse for any of it. That's like at that where our relationship was.
Yeah, because obviously at the time I still had postpartum and we didn't know. I knew I was depressed, but I didn't understand I was postpartum until like.
And we already knew we both somewhat felt we were so that was the thing too. Like, so I guess that we always felt that we had depression, but we never
know why, because we were happy.
And we never really were like, okay, yeah, we have depression, we should be careful. Yeah. We were just kind of like, maybe I'm depressed. No, it can't be that. Like, we're not that bad. We're not that bad. We're not that bad.
Yeah, because obviously we know people who like, we don't know people. I've heard of stories of like people who kind of get out of bed or like,
who were basically just in a worse position than we were, or felt worse. Excuse me.
Thank you. Yeah.
And because I know that's how I felt. I'd be like, I can't be depressed. I'm just sad, because if I were depressed, I'd want to kill myself all the time.
And I felt guilty for being depressed because obviously I was like, I had a great son. I have a great husband. We have a home.
That's another thing too. Like, justifying why we're not depressed. I did that all the time too. And so we didn't really know, but we kind of did, that we were feeling those feelings. But yeah, so we were going through a lot at that time, and I essentially felt, I guess, that I'd be better off, but at the same time, I was like, I knew I wasn't better off. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it was. And I mean better off like with someone else, right? Yeah. I felt that I'd be better off with someone else. But then I was also like, no, I wouldn't be. And then I didn't want to hurt her. So that's where we got. That's how bad we got to a point. After that, right, is when she was like, if we're gonna stay together, you need to get help. So eventually she was like, you need to get help if we're gonna stay together. Right?
Yes.
And so we did. But this also led to more not more problems, but like it led to us like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it was more like it kind of like justified what he was saying.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So I was like,
let me back up a little bit. And that's perfect. That's a good idea, right? So like, before, when she would catch me, she's like, you need to go get help. You need to go talk to someone. You have a problem. And I was like, no, I don't. I'm just stupid. I make poor choices.
It's all my fault.
It's my fault. There's nothing to blame.
Nothing I can do.
Exactly. I'm just ridiculous. I just kept blaming myself. I was like, it's my fault. I make poor choices. I'm just stupid. I don't realize what I have. That kind of stuff. That's what I just assumed. And I kept thinking, because she kept telling me to get help, and I was like, it's not gonna help. They're not gonna do it. What are they gonna do? Talk to me? And then what? I'm gonna realize I'm a dumbass, or I'm gonna realize I'm a piece of shit. Like, I already know that. I don't need someone. That's essentially what I don't need someone to tell me I'm a piece of shit. I know I'm a piece of shit.
Yeah, I remember him telling me, they're just gonna tell me there's nothing you can do. That it's just in my head. And I was just like, no, at least you can talk to someone, like, if you can't, like, for the most part, I was like, if you can't talk to me, I was like, which sucked. I was like, but if you can't talk to me, talk to someone. You
Yeah.
know, that was my biggest thing, like talking or anything, you know, anything to help. And obviously he went, and then you can tell him.
Yeah. So after that instance we discussed, I went finally, and I was nervous because, again, in my mind, there's going to tell me I'm a piece of shit, that I don't deserve to be married, I don't deserve to be happy. I should just quit well in my head and just be a piece of shit. So I get there, tell the dude how I'm feeling. I can't stop pursuing other women. I want to sleep with every woman I see. I have these urges I can't control. That's pretty much what I recall telling the guy. Essentially, it was all about the sex portion. I was just like, I can't stop. I can't stop. No matter what, I can't stop. It feels involuntary. I can't stop. And he's like, oh, that's not a big deal. Don't worry about it. He's like, that's how men are supposed to be.
Yeah, that's you being a man. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember him coming home and telling me, he was like, he came home and he was like pissed. And I was like, how did it go? And he was just like, I fucking knew it. He's like, he just told me that it's in my genetics. That's how I am. Live with it, pretty much.
Yeah.
And I was just like,
So it's like, so I
what?
should just keep doing it, basically, is what I
Yeah.
got from that. And I'm like, but I know that's wrong.
yeah. He was like, come home. He's like, that's not what I want to fucking hear. You know,
Yeah.
it's like, so there's no help, pretty much. So he was just like, what, like,
Great.
not devastated, but like,
I was
you know,
just like,
crushed
I
or-
was kind of like, prove my point.
yeah.
Nothing I can do. I'm just a piece of shit. Right. And so, fast forward, we moved to Texas. I go to Korea. Probably still doing the same stuff, probably still talking. And then I come back, get to my new duty station.
Well, like obviously before you get to
Go
your
ahead.
education, like yeah, he was in Korea. We missed each other a lot. Obviously, we talk every night.
Yeah,
I don't think there's
every night.
ever been
Didn't
a
even
night
go
we
out.
didn't talk. Yeah, literally, yeah, didn't go. Well, maybe once to dinner.
Yeah.
But even then, he's like, "I'm going home," you know. And like I was fine. And then obviously he got back. We were already in. Me and Eli were already in Texas. And then I thought everything was great. You know, I would send him nudes. I would, you know, help him in any way I could.
Mhm.
You know, and then coming back. I don't know why I was on a computer. I always find it, like, no matter what, if I'm looking for it or not. I was on the computer and I found, like, a file named something funny. So I clicked on it and I was like, what the
I would
fuck?
have the dumbest names for things. It's
Yeah.
Just like,
Or, like, two of the same names. And I was like, really, dude? You know? But, yeah, so I clicked on it. And, again, girls, different things. Or, like, you know, oh, we're getting divorced. And, like, story. You know, like, the different things. Yeah. It was funny. So I find it. I came up to him and I was pregnant with Andy, and I was just like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Why are we having this baby then?" You know, and he was like, his face was like, "Fuck," you know, like he I said, embarrassed.
Yeah.
That was it. Ashamed, and
I
you
didn't
know,
realize half the stuff that was on there, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, I just figured it was nudes.
yeah. Well, some news and then some like actual like tags. So I guess you can talk to them later.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? Things like that. But yeah, and then
Yeah.
obviously we worked it out.
Yeah. Again, same
obviously I
kind of
deleted
stuff.
it,
We
yeah.
talked, and, you know, of course, nothing happened. Just basically talking to other females or whatever. And then we're here in this duty station, and I am becoming more anxious, more depressed. I found myself wanting to, like, there's no cliffs out here, so not literally, but like I find myself imagining myself driving off a cliff, or like just ending it because of the pain I was causing my family and the anguish I was putting them through. And I just kept thinking about dying all the time, and I just wanted to end it. I just wanted to stop because I was a piece of shit. I am a piece of
Yeah,
shit.
And it didn't help that like we were assigned to the duty station because we wanted it first, and then we heard this was the great place. You know what I mean? Like it was supposed to be better than obviously we've
Everywhere
only been
else,
to
yeah.
one post, yeah,
Yeah.
but greater than anything. And then we get here and it's not. You know, he wants
Yeah.
to do more in the military and be a better
Yeah.
person.
There's
and
just
help,
there's
but-
just a lot of stuff that also
Yeah.
played into it work wise, but still most of it was
Yeah.
my relationship with you. The driving factor was that I knew I was hurting you. I knew I was hurting my family, and I wanted it to stop. How do I stop it if I'm out of the picture? So that's all I kept thinking about often. But a big thing that kept me going was my soldiers, obviously my family as well, but like my soldiers, like every day I had Joes who relied on me, who needed me to, or at least I feel that they relied on me, who needed to be trained, who needed, you know, a mentor basically. And I was that for them. And that's kind of what kept me going. The military itself played a big role in my life. And at this last duty station, I started getting worse with my feelings, my depression, and the things that were going on at that duty station just were not helping. And in fact, it made things worse. The way my soldiers were treated, I was treated, things of that nature. So eventually, and then it led to the drinking. And that's at this time is when I started drinking.
And it's hard because, like, obviously I ask him how his day goes, and he tries to explain to me military talk or to go into depth how he's feeling about something, and I'm like, what? I'm just like, explain to me. I have to explain a whole different story. So it was just hard because it was like we were speaking two different languages, and I was just like, I know he's feeling bad, and I feel bad for asking these questions. So sometimes I would listen, or as best I could, and it just not necessarily didn't help, but
it probably made things worse.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So it was like, I don't know. So I felt bad for that, but it's just
it wasn't her fault. None of it had anything to do with her. No. It was always me. But essentially that's when I started drinking.
Mm-hmm.
And previously, like, I don't drink really. I'll drink during get-togethers, social gatherings, maybe on the weekend. Especially if I'm cooking a steak, I'm gonna have a beer, But it started becoming a 6-pack a night, 12-pack, and
until we don't know pack.
Yeah, and then I decided I wanted to go get seen, and that was what I was getting seen for, was the alcohol, not necessarily the sex stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to go get seen for alcohol, not necessarily sex things, even though between all this time I'm still cheating. I'm still talking to girls. I'm still trying to meet girls, whatever the case may be. I'm still cheating. And I'm obviously not feeling good about that either. So it's like a double-edged sword. I'm not doing great at work. I'm not doing good at home. As I was saying, I wanted to die because I just didn't feel like I was doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm not being a good husband, not being a good father, whatever the case is.
Obviously didn't help on my end either. We just had Andy. I went through a really bad postpartum where I wasn't talking to him or communicating with him. So he'd come home, dishes weren't done.
I think that's when we learned too.
I would only get up to pick up Eli and maybe take care of Andy if she stopped crying, like even, like I said, past episodes, like I would cry in the closet and he wouldn't know because I just wouldn't tell him. And like I said, I thought same thing, like my family better off without me. I don't do shit, the house isn't clean. What am I contributing? I can't even breastfeed my daughter.
Yeah.
Like that's how I felt. So it didn't help him that I wasn't talking and he came home and nothing was done. Obviously the kids were taken care of, but that's it. He'd have to feed them or,
Yeah. And that's kind of where like we started to realize some of those things that we weren't communicating with each other, but it got explained more once I started getting seen for help.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They're like, are you an alcoholic? And I explained to them my situation. They're like, well, we wouldn't call that an alcoholic. We'd call that binge drinking or whatever. It's okay. Well, I was like, well, they're like, do you have any other addictive things going on? Because otherwise they'd have to kick me out because I wasn't technically an alcoholic or something like that.
Yeah.
And so I told them about the sex stuff. And then, so I was there for a while and I got to see my therapist and whatnot, and I told him all the things that we had gone through and the things that I was afraid to tell you about, and I just spilled my beans, spilled my guts,
Yeah, which I was honestly surprised that he did, but
it
really
took a while,
yeah.
And essentially found out that I was bipolar, found out that I have severe depression, of course, and then I had OCD, which was the thing that helped explain things. They're like, do you ever think about something and you can't like stop thinking about it? Until I was like, oh, no, that's exactly my life.
He'd be like, like it'd like click,
yeah. And then we started discussing triggers. You mentioned stuff like that before, and I still don't really have a trigger, like a one thing that sets me off, but like I realized that there was patterns for sure. If we stopped talking about our feelings to each other, if we stopped being intimate with each other, if we stopped doing these certain things, it would start to lead down this path where, okay, I'm going to start being more interested in getting attention from somewhere else because I'm not getting it from her, or I'm going to start pursuing blowjobs because she's not sucking me off, or whatever the case
talking, or he thinks so. If I don't talk, exactly. I think it's his fault, and so he spirals, and I'm like, no, I'm spiraling. So,
I feel unloved or whatever. So I realized all these things were leading to one another. Okay, that's something that we can fix. We can adjust on our own or whatever. And so that's, once we realize that, we look back like, oh my gosh, that explains everything that happened before. And as you kind of mentioned, which I think we'll talk about yours, like everything you went through too in a minute. But that's what I realized. So it was like every time, like she was mentioning, she was going through postpartum, I was thinking she's not taking care of the house. Great. I
Yeah.
had this shitty day at work. Now I have to do all this stuff at the house and all this stuff. Or like I was saying, she's not even pleasing me as a wife. So what the fuck am I supposed to do? So I guess I gotta go freaking jerk off. I don't want to jerk off. I'd rather have someone. So let me go find someone or whatever. And so it was just this never ending circle. And then now that we realize, okay, these are kind of like my triggers, or these are kind of things that the pattern leads us down. We need to address these things. We can't not go every day and not talk about each other's feelings. I need to know how she's feeling, so I feel loved, and so I feel that I matter. She needs to hear my same things from me, so that she feels the same way.
Yeah.
And then I need to give her cuddles. She needs to give me intimate time and things of that nature. And so that kind of brings us where we are today. And you know, we work through things. And also the biggest thing that I learned that helps, in which again is more testament to my wife, is that in addiction to whatever the case is, having people who support you, whether you fail or not, is a big thing. And I think that's also why, like at our times too before, where you were like, oh, you're just cheating on me all the time, it made it worse. Because if I felt that she didn't have faith in me, what's the point of trying, kind of deal. And that's kind of like how addicts think. If addicts think, well, I got someone at home who don't give a shit, they're going to leave me as soon as I mess up, well, I might as well just do it anyways then, because she's going to leave at some point. Because every addict will fail. Every addict at some point in their life is going to regress, or what's the word? Relapse. It's going to relapse. Every addict will always relapse.
Yeah.
It's kind of, well, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, right? But from my understanding, that's what the discussion was, is that every addict will relapse at some point in time. And it's a matter of your support system on whether they're going to accept that. If your support system can't accept that, then it's just destined to fail. But because my wife has always been there for me through my relapses, through my regression and stuff like that, she's been there.
Yeah.
And she knows now that one day I might cheat on her, sleep with someone else or whatever. And right now she'll probably tell me I'll kill you, whatever, blah, blah, blah.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Sorry.
But I think from my understanding, at the end of it, we're going to fight and we're going to get over it and push through.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So if I slept with the grocery lady at the store, yes, she's going to be upset with me. Yes, we're probably not going to talk for a little while, but then we're going to work it out.
Yeah. But also, like, he understands that it's not okay. It's not.
Right. I'm not going to go sleep with someone.
Yeah. And like blame it on the addiction or whatever it may be. Because,
not
like,
an excuse. Yeah.
at the same time, there's a line drawn. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, I've dealt with addiction a little bit more before he was even diagnosed. We'll get into that further episodes maybe. But so I kind of already knew there was triggers. There was, you know, you have to have that support. You have to, you know what I mean? Go through that. At the same time, you need a line drawn, because if not, they can take advantage. So that's where, like, obviously we discussed before, like, if he goes to sleep with Sally at the grocery store, like, that could possibly be it.
Yeah.
I understand that it's your addiction. It's not you. Like, I call it like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, because I feel like there's two of him, you know, two personalities. But it's just like, if you do that, that could be it. You know, that's the end of us. You know, whether like it is or not, it could be a possibility that, you know, that's the line.
Right, exactly.
You know?
So it's not like, well, I'll just forgive you for everything.
It's not guaranteed that I'm going to be like, okay, fine. Like,
but we're going to try, essentially. And that's what is better than just saying, no, if you sleep with someone or if you talk to someone, I'm gone. Which obviously would be understandable.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to say, oh, how dare you leave me right now. She should have left me a long time ago. But it's more just like that understanding is that, like, I don't have full control. You know?
Yeah, it's like a medical condition.
It's
like
a struggle.
sometimes, yeah, it's just you can't control it, or you know what I mean. It's not that that's an excuse, but like if I have a seizure right now, you know what I mean. Obviously different.
No, I mean,
thing, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, obviously. But so those are my biggest issues that I've brought into the relationship, and that's kind of how we dealt with them. Again, it comes with our big overlying thing is communication, like that. Is what kept us going through thick and thin from the beginning to now. And that's what keeps us going is the communication. And as she just clarified to me, yeah, like obviously I've said it wrong. You know, she's not just going to forgive me for sleeping with someone. I hope she would, you know, because I don't want to.
No, see, I just wanted to be clear.
No, I understand that, but that's what I'm saying. I'm happy you did that because, because that needs to be clear.
You don't have to take it if you don't feel comfortable.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
But that's 100% like exactly what the communication is. Like, yeah, if I'm thinking that, yeah, she needs to correct me. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
But I'm not just gonna up and leave. Yeah. And I get that, and that makes sense because again, she should have left me a long time ago, guys. I'm a piece of shit, and I have this angel of a wife who lets this piece of shit live with her. But yeah, so that's my side of it. We kind of talked a little bit about her side, but I'll let her kind of share her biggest issues and how we overcame them.
So obviously on my side, I've had depression, obviously, like, for a while. Obviously, I have daddy issues. You know, my biological father wasn't in my life a majority, or most of my life. So I had, you know, just trouble with that, abandonment issues.
I was about to say,
Yeah, thank you. I was trying to like figure it out. But also at the same time, I did know like I had a good support system. I could talk to my mom, my sisters, my grandma, my grandpa. You know, like they were always with me. You know, so I already knew I had that stuff. ADD, so it was very hard for me to concentrate. So I knew like those were problems.
Self-esteem.
So, oh yeah,
because that is a problem in our life now. Because if she doesn't feel confident in herself, then we don't get intimate.
Yeah,
and if we don't get intimate, it leads me down my path. Which
thank
is
you.
Never
Yeah.
good.
And I want to say that's about it. At least mentally, mental.
Yeah, I think so. And then it
wise.
just goes into the situations.
Yeah, and obviously depending on that. So, obviously, coming from my past, I assumed that like I had a hope for marriages. You know, not say they would work out all the time because I saw one that didn't. You know, so I was like, okay, if it happens, happens. If not, we get divorced. Like that was kind of bad. Hope it stays forever, but you know what I mean. So I had the mentality, and obviously, I don't know, just.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that, and then probably you think you've always assumed that I would cheat regardless, not because of me, but just because of your past relationships.
Yes. Right? Oh yeah.
I think she always just thought that she wasn't good enough, and that you used to say that to me. Mm-hmm. She would say that I'm just not good enough. You know, I'm not good enough for you. You're gonna cheat on me, so leave me, kind of thing.
I forgot that was a huge thing. Like
that was a problem mostly in our youth.
Yeah.
Not as much during marriage, because I think you knew at that point that even though I messed up, I still wanted to be with you. Yeah. I think you believed me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because like for the most part, you fought for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he fought to make me realize that.
Yeah. Even when I was going through my stuff, I never wanted it to end.
Yeah, he was never like, "Oh fuck you, this is it." You know?
Yeah, because I mean, there's plenty of times that I could just be like, "Okay, well, I'll leave with Sally."
Yeah, no, definitely.
I'll leave with Bob, but no, I wanted to stay.
We fought for each other.
Yeah. Every time. Let's go into like I mean, because our youth, that was pretty much it. Our youth was that you would get self-conscious or whatever. Just thought I would,
marriage
just
is mainly depression.
Yeah, but I mean that's a pretty big thing. You want to talk about that? Like, when was the first time that? Well, I guess. Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Okay, so
just remember big things. Any big things that you feel?
So depression-wise, I would say it was hard leaving my family. Mm-hmm. You know, so obviously when we got married, right away we moved to Louisiana after he got out of basic. So I was constantly with my family, and all of a sudden next day, like it was just me and him. So that was a big adjustment. Just like not having my mom or sisters or grandma, like my grandparents, like that was huge. Like, and obviously I didn't tell him. Like I wanted him to know I was happy, but I was sad because I didn't have them. I've always had them. Yeah. So that was a big thing.
We talked about before, I mean, our military episode, is like I essentially rip her from her life and bring her to this place in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, which, like I said, he says it like that, but we both agreed. You know what I mean? That's where it's like...
But most people, when they get married, they don't get ripped from their life.
A lot of people do, actually. But
I don't know about
that. So like that was, like I said, the depression. Obviously, it got better because we learned to live with each other, and obviously we're married. This was it, you know? So we did stuff, like went out, just hung out with each other, just, you know, things like that. So it helped after a while. And then, like I said, just me being self-conscious. I just wouldn't, like, what? I don't think it was just sex. It was just...
I would say at some point, you just kind of stopped doing things. When we first got there, you were making me breakfast, lunch, dinner before I came home. You would suck me off on my lunch breaks and stuff like that. And then, like, and you clean the house, and all of a sudden, in my perspective, all of a sudden it just stopped.
Yeah. So I would say that was the depression, and, you know, that's because obviously I would talk to my mom, and not so that she would cry or like my sisters, but we'd miss each other, you know, and then you realize, like, you're alone in this house. He's, like I said, he was gone 12 hours more a day, you know. Never knew when he was coming home, so the few times I did cook him dinner, it'd be cold. I'd be like, what do I do? You know, just sit here and have dinner by myself? Like, it's fucking sad, you know? So little things like that. And then...
I wouldn't say little, but...
Yes. But yeah, obviously, then it didn't help that. It didn't help that. Obviously, his
Coping.
coping obviously was phone, and like I said, like no matter what happens, I always find out. I always tell him, I was like, whenever you do, I find out. So you might as well just like either tell me or just give me the phone, or whatever. I was like, but anyways, so I always find it, and that makes me self-conscious, and then
It'd make you spiral, probably.
yes. So go into more depression.
So we both spiral at the same exact
Yeah.
time. Like, oh great, I'm a piece of shit. And she's like, oh great, I didn't deserve.
I'm a horrible fucking person because I didn't. Yeah. And then at the time we never knew triggers or never talked really. So we'd get over it and like he'd go to work and I'd be at home and then it'd get better for a little bit. We ignore it and then
it'd get worse again.
Yes, and then a cycle again and again and again.
Yeah.
But obviously,
it makes so much sense when we talk about it.
Huh?
To me, it makes so much sense when we
Yeah,
talk about it. Now
yeah.
I was like, okay, yeah, we talked about it, and then we stopped,
And
and then
ignore
we
it,
separated
yeah.
again, not purposefully, but it
Yeah.
just happened. And
we
then
kind of
it happened.
distance.
Yeah. Or it just happened because we didn't talk about those things.
Yeah.
That was the biggest thing too, because also you were like, I'm not sure, maybe I don't know if that's the right word, but like afraid to tell me.
Yeah. I was like, obviously my mom was a single mom, so I never wanted to like bug her with my feelings. So why would I bug anyone else with them?
Yeah.
So I never really told him what I was feeling, and that led to not communicating with my husband, which led to problems. And
Yeah, and then I also like didn't want to tell her I need you to do more things because I already felt she was dealing with a lot.
yeah, he always
That
tells me
led to
like,
more of
yeah,
it.
he's like, I don't want to like a robot. He's like, I just
Yeah.
I want a person.
Exactly. I don't need a sex toy.
Yeah.
I want my wife. But
he's like,
how do
yeah,
I
there's
explain that?
sometimes I just want to like
Get
just
it off.
fuck.
I just
He's
wanna
like, but yeah,
blow
he's
my
like, but
load,
I
yeah.
can't. He's like, I love you too much. Yeah. So
Yeah. So like it was hard. So how do I tell her like just get on your fucking knees? Like no, you can't say that
No,
to your
yeah.
wife. Like and especially if she's already feeling some type of way. So like that's
no offense to people who do say that.
Yeah, I
by the
mean
way.
I want to say that to her. But it was literally a never-ending cycle, and like again, looking back, and maybe after explaining to you, you guys kind of understand now. Like we just didn't talk about it, and so it led to me going to do my thing, and it led to her getting more depressed, and it just devastated us. And I honestly don't know how we made it through because it's so much,
Right?
It's so much.
We ended up having Eli, and that was a big thing. I've always wanted kids.
Yeah.
You wanted to be a dad.
That made us
like,
so happy.
Yes, and then I guess after that we were good for I felt like a long
A
time
while,
until like I said postpartum. I didn't even know it was postpartum.
Yeah.
Like I was like, I'm not gonna get that or baby blues or
Yeah.
whatever.
And that
the
really messed
heck.
us up a lot. And again, it's not her fault, but that really messed us up a lot because from my perspective, right, for me, it was like, I'd come home. Did you eat breakfast? No. Oh, fuck, I had to make her breakfast. Did you feed my son? No. Okay, I got to feed him because she didn't feel like eating, so she didn't feel like eating, so he didn't eat. And
Well, when he got older, because obviously
that's how
yeah.
it felt. Yeah.
Yeah, because I didn't realize I was depressed with him for a while, but I was, like I'd breastfed him, which was great, but after a while I was like, okay, like I want my body back, I don't regret it. I was like, but I was just like, hey, dude, like get off of me. And
Time
then
to
I
start
got
eating real food.
exactly. I was like, and then he would want to touch me, and I was like, stop, everyone stop fucking touching me.
Yeah.
Like I love you guys, but goddamn, let me take a shower, or little things like that. So it was always funnier. Like I said, and it's like they tell you after you have a baby, you gotta like prioritize your things, leave your dishes, and if you'd rather sleep, go to sleep.
Yeah.
So I was taking their advice, but at the same time, I didn't realize my husband was like, he felt like he had to be the maid and a caretaker,
I felt like I had two kids.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so I was just going by the advice I was given,
Yeah.
and then
Which wasn't wrong. It wasn't wrong,
But
but,
it
we
also made me
weren't
feel like shit,
communicating.
yeah, 'cause I was
we
like-
weren't communicating.
yeah, and then I always say like, and then I know he's a very sexual person. I was like, I just can't. I'm tired. Like, this kid is a lot. Like,
Yeah, I mean,
love him.
even now, right? You're pregnant. We're not having a lot of sex.
Yeah.
But it's the whole thing of communication now.
Yeah.
Like during those times, you weren't telling me, I'm not feeling great today. I'm not.
Yeah, we
I'm
weren't
not here.
talking yet.
We
Yeah.
still weren't talking yet.
Yeah.
But that was like our worst time because like I said, I felt like I had two kids, and I was like, what's the point of being married?
Yeah.
Because you're not being intimate with me. And I'm taking care of the house, and I'm paying the bills, and I'm feeding you guys. I was like, what's the point?
Yeah, so
You
like
know,
it was just hard. Like
was hard for
we were like on different pages. I tried to
Yeah.
take care of myself as much as I could, because
Which is 100% right thing
Yeah.
to do. I am not saying I was not for that.
yeah, no,
I just
he would-
didn't know it was more than that.
Yes,
I
we
just
both
thought
didn't.
she was being lazy.
Yeah,
Because she did not communicate to me that I'm
was
not,
sad or I was
I'm depressed.
crying.
I'm not feeling great. Yeah. Because if I'd have known that, because like now now that we're talking more, we understand these things more. Now she's like, I'm in pain, I'm tired, I'm sad, whatever. Okay, don't worry about it. Go to sleep.
Or even now,
Go
like
take a
I
nap.
just like I need to cry. You
Yeah.
know, and
or I don't feel like
it-
cooking because I'm just so sad. Okay, let me go buy you dinner.
Yeah,
No problem.
Because before even with Eli, like we would lay in bed. Eli would be asleep. So would he, because he'd have work in the morning, and I would just lay there, and I would just cry right next to you, and after that I'd be like, okay, I feel better, and I'd knock out. But you know what I mean, like
Yeah,
little things like that.
know
I didn't realize it
didn't know
was.
that now.
Yeah, I was like, it was depression, or you know what I mean.
Yeah. Postpartum, yeah. And that probably was the worst time in our life. Or in our marriage, excuse me.
Beginning, yeah.
That was the closest thing we've ever gotten to divorce.
Yeah, with just Eli, yeah.
And again, there was no, well, I mean, obviously I'm a piece of shit, but like there was no real reason for us, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
To feel that way towards each other in a normal relationship because we weren't doing anything crazy. You know?
Yeah, we would just like watch TV, or you know what I mean.
Yeah. And then, so that was bad.
And after that, obviously, we got over it. Not over it, but like we worked through it.
Better, yeah.
Yes.
I think that's when did you find out, or when did you accept that you were like depressed and going through this stuff? Is it after I got help?
No, I want to say I was in California, and then for some reason I just couldn't deal with anything, and I called my older sister. I was like, La, can you come take him? And I remember like trying not to cry, and she's like, yeah, I'll be over right now. And as soon as she picked him up, I just started crying. And she's like, what's wrong? And I was just like, I can't. I was like, I just can't be a mom right now. And then she was like, okay, yeah. And then she like, later on, obviously she dropped him off. She's like, I think you have postpartum. And I was like, no, you don't. Like, I got very
Defensive,
yeah, I got so mad that she would even bring that up. And then obviously she's like, I think she talked to my little sister. Thank you. And my mom, she's like, yeah, Lexi needs help or something like that. And I don't know if they called you or not.
I don't think so.
No.
At the time, I think our relationship wasn't very good yet.
Yeah, well, like I said, that's how I kind of was like, fuck, maybe I do have postpartum, you know. And then obviously after that, when I went back to, you know, Louisiana, back home, I talked to the doctor, and they're like, okay, well, we'll start you on medication, you know. And so we did that for a little bit, and I think that's it. After that, I don't know why I stopped with Eli. I think it just got better.
Yeah.
Like things got, but just talking felt better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then, yeah. Did I go? Oh, I didn't go to therapy. But yeah, no, I don't know why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why either. I think maybe
I was just realizing that I had postpartum.
Yeah, I mean that's what helped me the most, you know. I think maybe also after the big fight that we were like, yeah, because that big fight was late in Eli's life. That was like almost right before we left. I think.
Yeah. No, yeah.
So after that, then we moved to Texas. And
Oh
then-
yeah, we need a fresh start.
Yeah.
All that stuff. Okay. Yeah.
And of course again, this piece of shit over here didn't stop cheating. and but
And
what
then-
was better though,
Yes.
it wasn't as often. It wasn't like we were still working on it, but it's because we were just slipping on our own responsibilities of
that,
talking.
and obviously I got pregnant again.
Yeah.
You know, so
well, I still don't think yet. It wasn't until after Andy was out that I talked to somebody.
well, we went to marriage counseling while I was pregnant.
Did we?
Yeah.
With
'Cause I
Andy?
remember I found out the pictures from Korea.
Yeah.
I was pregnant with Andy, and then I remember going to marriage counseling.
That's true. That did help us
And then,
a
yeah.
lot too, because then we realized, oh, okay, I feel love this way, you feel love that way. That's
Yeah.
how we can help each other.
And she was like, "You have to understand, like
yeah, the other person's
his
needs
version
of
You have
love.
to understand, yeah, her
That is true.
version, yeah,
that's
okay.
true. Yes, the five love languages came in to help us out a lot,
Yeah.
but it still wasn't enough. I was still cheating, but again, it was better than when we were in Louisiana, because in Louisiana, like, we didn't have that, and it was that circle, that spiral.
Yes.
So this particular time,
We
like,
started opening up to each other, or like talking. I would
yeah, well,
say.
I think, maybe starting is probably a good word, because we were realizing some of those things that we should talk more, but we didn't realize how important the
Yeah.
talking was.
and how often we needed to talk.
Yes, exactly. So the love languages was helpful. But again, realizing the talking, like, okay, again, or me communicating, hey, I need you to give me my love language,
Yes.
or vice versa for either one of us. So again, yeah, she said we started talking, we figured out, okay, I need to do these things, she needs to do these things, but we didn't know how often we need to do it to each
And
other
then we
because
would forget.
yeah,
or-
well, yeah, that because you wouldn't tell me how often you needed to be cuddled. I wouldn't
Yeah.
tell her how often I needed to have physical touch.
Then there was my self-consciousness because I don't want to be too needy.
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
want to be too demand. Like, you know
That's
what I mean? Like, I don't want to
true,
bug him with my feelings because
That
he
makes
had a lot
perfect
going
sense.
on.
Yeah.
You know,
Exactly, because I was going through my shit in the army.
Yes,
So yeah,
and
so
so I
that
was
was
just
just
like, I'm fine. I could deal with myself. I'll deal with me and Eli.
yeah.
He can.
And I was too busy thinking about everything else
the
that I wasn't
army and-
focused on us. Yeah. So yeah, it was better, but it wasn't there yet.
Yeah.
And then that's when I got help. You were going through postpartum again. I got help, and then things
Yeah.
have been perfect, right?
I would.
Since then?
Yeah, I would say
Yeah.
knock on wood. But yeah,
Yeah,
perfect.
yeah, things have been perfect
'cause, like,
since then.
'cause
We're
again,
talking.
I was with Andy. I was medicated, but that like I told him like after 3 days, it was like a continuous like I'd have really like just how you are, like
Yeah.
you're bipolar, but this one made me because I was medicated.
Yeah.
Like on the 3rd day, I'd want to die.
Yeah.
You know, so I just stopped taking it,
That's
and yeah,
I don't know about that part.
I
of
was
the time,
really,
I know that
really
you told me
dark.
you went to. My medication too wasn't the greatest at 1st. My first medication, it made me lose my empathy. So if she tripped and fell, typically, oh my God, are you okay? And I'd be genuinely worried. But now, at that time when I was taking that medication, she would trip, like, you okay?
Okay,
I wouldn't
good.
really care. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, obviously I did, but like I realized I knew that the empathy wasn't there.
Yeah.
Whenever I would drive by someone stuck on the side of the road, I always feel like, oh, I wish I can go stop, but I have 2 kids in the car, my wife, like it's just too much, you know. We're in the middle of something, we're on our way doing something or whatever. So, but I'd feel bad that I couldn't stop. I'd feel sorry for them being stuck on the side of the road
Yeah.
or whatever the case is. And then after the medication, I'd see them. Wouldn't even
Oh,
think
well,
twice.
yeah.
Whatever. So that was kind of, we both stopped taking our medication essentially.
Yeah, because like I said, mine was pretty bad. Like
Mine just didn't make me feel, and I'm a very feeling person. Like I have love for everybody and anybody. And then yeah, so once I got seen, we realized what we needed to do. Communication was key.
yeah,
And yeah, ever since we've been really good, and we still have our moments where we fight or where we get upset with each other, or there's times we forget that we need to talk.
yeah.
But
Like I'll
we're
be like, oh, so sorry, but like a big thing, like so communicating, especially with Andy. She was like colic. She was like,
That was rough.
she was just a really hard, like infancy, you know. So like, I would need to sleep, and like, how do you tell someone you need to sleep when they're fucking tired too? You know. So it's just like, yeah, like I said, just communication. That's what we forgot. Like I said, we were so like not busy with ourselves, but like
Yeah, just busy
Yeah.
with our life. We're parents,
Yeah.
you know. And I think, yeah, I mean, even now we have to remind ourselves, oh, we haven't been talking about our feelings.
yeah,
Oh, we haven't been talking about this. You know, we need to get back into that. Or even just a quick reminder, like, hey, talk to me. No, I'm fine. No, talk to me.
yeah,
Okay, sorry. Yeah, I'm feeling like this. I don't want to talk right now. Okay, cool. That's all right.
yeah.
We'll talk later.
Yeah, even
you know?
sometimes like I don't realize I lash out or like yeah, like I guess yell. I would say is a good word. Or I don't know. I snap.
I mean, there's just a
And then
certain way
he's
you
like,
talk.
"Oh." Yeah,
Because I feel like you're always so fun and lovey and bubbly, and then when you're not, you're just like, I'm doing dishes. I'm taking out the trash.
oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I'm
And it's not even,
like, what's
you know,
wrong?
yeah, you're not even
I'm
yelling.
like
It's just
nothing.
like,
And what's wrong? I'm like, wait, let me think about it first before I say
Yeah.
nothing again.
yeah,
Let me think about it,
This
and
baby's
I'll
killing
I'll
me.
let you know.
You're annoying.
Yeah, so I tell him about it. Let me think about how I'm feeling, because obviously I feel like 10 feelings at once.
Yeah.
So it's hard for me to determine what I'm feeling exactly, and then tell him, oh, I'm sad, oh, I'm annoyed,
Yeah.
or I'm just feeling anxious, you know, or fat, whatever.
Yeah.
But
I didn't know you can feel fat until.
he got
Yeah.
married, yeah. But
But
yeah.
that's where we are now. We're in a good place, and we're happy for it. And though we've went through so much, and I've been such a piece of shit, like I'm happy that I did all that stuff with you, and I'm happy that we've gotten to where we are together because we're so much stronger for it.
Yeah, same.
And one day I may fuck up, and one day you may go crazy, but I'll still love you, and I hope you'll still love me.
Of course I love you.
I enjoyed talking to you.
Enjoy talking to you.
I hope you guys enjoyed this show. Very embarrassing for me to share the worst times of my life. But I hope that you got something from it. I hope you enjoyed me being uncomfortable.
If you have any questions down below,
Comment, like this video. Please subscribe after all that. This many of you are not subscribed. Please subscribe and check us out on Spotify. Bye.